you see the screen? All right, cool. Thank you. All right, nice. So we're going to start off with EU, and this one occurred today. And like I've said for the past few weeks, there's been so many trades that have just kind of shown themselves on Friday, and kind of like, you know, Friday London and maybe just dipping into New York for a bit. But this one was pretty good, and it was technically a reversal trade because price had been trending up here previously. But I did really like the whole kind of, I'm just going to mute and I'm just going to, right, there we go. But I did like this whole kind of transition, right? Price was trading up, traded down, traded up, hardly broke this high, but we did. And then we traded down and we mitigated this SC here on the M5, right? We had a reaction and then a push lower, had another reaction, and this second reaction had taken out this high. And then after that, we came down and we broke this low and we broke the SC as well, right? So we had an SD over here because we took out this high and then took out this low. We also had unwillingness here as well. And then we also had OFD there, right? So in my opinion, this was like a very valid reversal trade, despite obviously the odds being against us in that respect. But I did really like that all of those confluences kind of coming into one. The entry was the top of this inefficiency. I thought that was the best place. Again, here would have been kind of below the premium level. Just didn't want to kind of do 50% or the open. So I just decided if I'm going to get in the trade, I want to enter here. And then we tapped that like pretty much perfectly. This is on the 2 minute now. And I mentioned here that I will trail the stop if this low here breaks, because this POI did look very reactive and I didn't want to be in a position where this was going to get tapped and then it comes up and then takes me out completely. Because if you look on this time frame, despite having all these bearish confluences, we did have this grab of this low after taking this high, and then we took that again. So we had this potential LGC occurring here, and I didn't want to kind of be exposed to the potential continuation that was going to occur. Obviously, just like bearing in mind this was a reversal setup. So that was just basically my thinking there. And then we broke, and we also had kind of like this internal here. We had low, high, low, high, then low. So we've kind of got our 1, 2, 3, 4. So stop being above here is pretty nice, because if price did break that and then come down and then break this, we're more than likely going to see a internal reversal and price would then skyrocket. And then we did hit TP. So I didn't manage to get the actual TP when it hit, but like the screenshot, I mean, because I was driving, but we did manage to hit, and then price just ended up trading back up. And I think we're trading above here now. Could be wrong, but that's that. So that was a nice trade. And again, I'm not targeting super, super low, like all the way down here, because in the grand scheme of things, this is still externally bullish, and I need to keep that in mind. So I think that was quite a nice setup. Cool. Next one was on Monday. So this was the first trade of the week, I'm pretty sure I had. And NFP made price skyrocket, as you can see there. And then throughout the rest of the session and day, we were just kind of slowing down in volume. And then Monday opened, we had a price break that low over here and then take the high, right? So we have an LGC here, and then we get the same thing, price taking this low and then breaking this high. So we've got our range low to high, and then we've got a kind of like intermediate target over here. And going lower, I just decided to, see, I don't execute on the 15. I'd probably execute on the M5 and below only. And then we had this, right? So we're sitting within this, and then price had traded down mitigating this POI over here, had a nice reaction. And then we had price push down, but I didn't want to take this SC purely because I wanted that to have taken this low, but we didn't manage to do that, unfortunately. So I didn't take that. And even if I did take that, I still would have been in because my stop would have been below that invalidation there. But I just decided to stay out just because I wanted to play it safe. But what ended up happening is price did come down. We took this low and then we came up and we broke this high and this high. So we have low, high here. But again, I know these are just basically the same price point, this low and this low. But because this is the lowest point and we took this low and we're basically within here, I wanted to have my stop in a more conservative spot there because price could, anything could happen. We could take this low out, but not take this one out. And then it could reverse. It's always a possibility. I mean, pretty much like it did here, right? You might think, oh, having a stop there would save you, but here it would have been taken out. And if you had your stop at this low, it would have been fine. So that was the premise for the setup. And obviously this is a continuation. So that's obviously a better probability in that sense. And then we came into our POI and I was pretty certain of this trade winning, as I wrote here kind of during the trade. This has a 90% chance of winning. I was near enough like convinced. I'd be very surprised if it didn't. The only real kind of issue, I guess, would be not issue, but the only kind of devil's advocate play here would be this just unsubstantial break. But again, we're externally bullish, we're internally bullish. We've had this bullish to bullish transition. Our stop's in a safe place. There should be no real reason for this to fall, really. And the target was this high over here, which is very local to this one. And then we had this occur. So I said, if this breaks, I will then move my stop to this point over here. And then price just ran. I didn't even have a chance to monitor or edit the trade because I wasn't at the charts at the time. But that was a really nice trade as well, kind of good start to the week. And it's just one of those ones where it comes into POI and it just doesn't ever come back. It just goes straight away, which is pretty nice. Any questions on that? All good. Nice. Right, cool. I mean, I was kind of looking at this for a potential scale in as well. Like as I was kind of pre-analyzing here on the previous one. But there just wasn't any real kind of pullback into this pricing over here. So I think if you miss this one, unless you got in at the CBOS entry here, having your stop below there, then you probably could have got in. But I think this was kind of like the last point before the actual big move. So that was that one. Right, this was another counter trend. As you can see, price is trending above here. And my kind of framing of this trade was basically the fact that we had this low, this high. And I basically drew my fibs from here to here. And my anticipation was that price is going to come into the discount. And this had been overstretched. And there was basically a minute transition over here. Take the highs, break, failure to convert higher, failure to convert lower, failure to convert higher again, and then the drop down there. So my thinking was that, okay, we've had that conversion. We're not in the discount yet. Let's target a low that is within the discount, which was this one over here. And that could potentially give us a nice trade. And then this low, sorry, this high was taken. I know that's very micro, but technically it's still taken. Mitigation of that and then a roll. So there's a very micro invalidation within there. So that's where the stop, sorry. And that's where the stop is placed. Then price came down, and I said, if this breaks, I'll move stops to the drawdown high, which would have been this high over here. And reason being is because, again, because I'm trading counter, I don't want to be heavily exposed when my trade is already in profit. So I'm just going to cut risk when I can, but on a valid basis. I'm not just moving my stop loss to the high just for no reason. Also, as well, we'd taken this high and it had a reaction. So if we had this break, then any break over here would probably mean that price is going to carry on, and my cut in half stop loss would stop that, basically. Then we had the break. It was kind of like a big candle down, so stops was moved there. And then kind of straight after, we had the TP. So that was quite a nice trade. Pretty simplistic in my opinion, but again, it's higher risk due to the nature of C over R, right? Continuation over reversal. Any questions on that one? Assuming not. If you guys have any questions during it, just ask in the chat. But yeah, cool. Right, so I tried to do the same kind of thing here with EU, and unfortunately I got slightly unlucky here, which I'll show you in a minute. But we had price extend upwards, and then we had a OFD occur over here. So we had this and this. Then we had our CBOS. Price had taken that, came down, failed to convert, came down, had a push up again, and then a break of this low. If I zoom in, you'll be able to see, right? So I assumed, okay, cool. We're getting a micro move here. There's a potential for a sell. So that's where I entered. And unfortunately, as you can see here, that's where I placed my stop on the actual trade, 870. I didn't add spread. And unfortunately, this did stop me out. It only came to 6.9 on the trading view. But unfortunately, I did get stops, which was a shame. And it was just my mistake for not adding the spread, just being naive of it. But the bias was right. And just going back to the analysis. We had the same kind of thing here, right? We had our high-low CBOS reaction. And we had here again, high, low, CBOS reaction. And it did play out. This high was never taken, as you can see. It's just a shame I hadn't had my stop at the proper place with spread added. So yeah, that was a bit annoying, but the direction was A1, which is good. I can't complain there. But yeah, sometimes just shit like that happens. Cool. Right, next is GU. So this was quite nice. We had price had broken this high, and then it had broken this high. So we basically had our CBOS turn RBOS. And I had my entry at this point here, stop at the solidified low. Why? Because we'd taken this low out here, reaction, and this POI had been unmitigated. So that is the kind of reason for the entry. As you can see as well, price coming down, the effort for price to come down, not the effort, sorry, the momentum of price coming down starts to slow down a bit. So that's another indication. And we also have this potential CBOS occurring here before taking price higher. And then we had our reaction and we'd taken that high by like literally a single pipette. And then we came down and we'd taken this low here. And I basically said on here, if this high breaks, TP would definitely hit. And that's because we have bang, bang, CBOS, break of the high, so an LGC, and then price is more than likely going to go higher there. And then it did that, which was nice. Kind of as soon as we broke, we had one little pullback down, came into this, and then it came into TP, which was really nice. But that was a bit of a roller coaster at the time. I mean, it was just kind of just going up, down, up, down, up, down. It's just important to kind of make sure you're sticking to your rules and your plan. And, you know, if there's no reason to close, then don't close. There was no real transition here that made me think, oh, price is going to continue falling, because we did take this high and we did break this, but price came up, failed to convert higher, but then we also failed to convert lower. And then we failed to convert higher again, and then failed to convert lower again, failed to convert higher, failed to convert lower. Then we had our break. There was nothing here that told me price is going to go down or up, right? So I'm sticking with the overall bias that I have here. My high is still my target, and I'm firm on that. And my invalidation point is still valid currently. There's nothing that's changed it until this breaks. Then we have here, 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 here. And then arguably you could have put your stop upon that breaking. So that was GU on Wednesday, I believe, which was, again, really nice setup. And conversely, at the same time, I had EU, right? So they're both kind of setting up for longs, and EU was right near this high over here. So I thought that'd be a valid target, considering we're very near it. I mean, the pip range is 5.2 pips, and the stop is 3.2 pips as well. So it was a 1 to 6 or something. If that is my maths right there. 2.8, 5.2. Oh, so it would have been a 1 to 2. Right. Okay, cool. So now if this high was, say if we were trading here, right, I wouldn't be targeting this high, of course, because it's very out of depth. And I'm assuming that a little conversion that's occurring here is going to go all the way and take this high. So I probably would have targeted this high, because that'll be the local kind of play here. And then now we're in this vicinity, I'm going to be targeting this high, right? So that's, again, just reinforcing the whole punching in your weight kind of thing when it comes to trading on the M1, target your micros or your minor intradays. So entry, again, continuation. Price had taken that low, solidified, high, low, taken that low, solidified, high, low, high, low, high. So my stop is below this one, anticipating CBOS break to an LGC, obviously, and then this target to be hit. And we did have kind of like an instantaneous reaction, which was nice. And then my stop was then moved to here, purely because we had the break of these lows and then the break of this high. And then price had, unfortunately, just not followed through. We had a very unsubstantial break here, and then came down, took this low. And then that low actually ended up saving, sorry, that trailing stop ended up saving a 1% loss. And it was only like 0.09 or whatever, 0.1. Can't remember the exact amount, right? But and then, oh, as you can see here as well, we came down. So we took me out here, right? And then we pushed up, and we just had a very unsubstantial break there again. Those fucking Zoom things in the way. Right, so we'd taken me out, and then we came there. So we basically, even if I hadn't trailed my stop, it would have missed the TP by a little bit, and then it came down, as you can see there. But conversely, with that came this, right? So this was a drill. So obviously I'd been stopped here, and I didn't want to take the long because I'd already been stopped out of a long, and there wasn't really any kind of valid setup here for a long. So I said not taking drill, but if the stop hits, price could be bearish for New York. And then we took, the stop was hit on the drill. And as you can see here, we have unsubstantial new breaks. So price is trending up, but we're having unsubstantial breaks of these highs. And then price, after taking this high, breaks this low. So we've got now our high and our low. And then this was the entry I was waiting for. And unfortunately, we didn't hit. And I also had this other entry, which I thought was a really nice, would have been a really nice entry, because we'd taken this low there, and then we took this high, and then we took that low. So we have high, low here. And then my entry was this inefficiency. Stop would have been above here, which is a valid invalidation point because it's a solidified high on the micro sense. And unfortunately, we missed it, which was a shame. But again, the direction was perfect and it was all based around that and the conversions that we were having here. And it just shows how dynamic the actual style is, because assume that I was going to buy here, right? Say I bought, I would have taken a 1% loss or whatever it is I'm risking. And then if assuming that this entry was hit or my second entry was hit, I would have just easily recouped that because my stop loss was valid. And because that hit, that means price is more than likely going to trade in the opposite direction, therefore allowing me to profit in the opposite direction. But it's important understanding that these models are dynamic. However, it doesn't mean you should force a trade kind of like every single time. No worries, my friend. Have a good weekend. But that is probably one of my favorite things about the style, is the fact that your stop loss, assuming you're placing your stops and your targets in the right place, if your stop is getting triggered and you're wrong, the direction will usually be the opposite, i.e. this breaking. This basically, this whole premise here is an assumption that price is going to go higher. And then the assumption here is if the stop loss hits, price is going to go lower, right? Because if I'm placing a stop, right, it's to stop me from losing out on the whole drawdown that could happen here. This low breaking means I think price is going to go a hell of a lot lower and the buyers are no longer valid. Therefore, the opposite should be valid, right? Sells should be in play or potentially in play, and then you can profit off of that as well. So it's a good little thing to keep in your mind. But that was all my trades and missed trades and whatnot this week. Has anybody got any questions whatsoever? And for those that joined a bit late, Fredo couldn't make it today because he is currently ill. So I don't think he even had any trades this week that he would have been able to show. So which would have been a bit of a waste of time for him. But has anyone got any questions whatsoever? Did anyone here get any trades this week? Winners, losers, break evens, mists? No, no one. Fair enough. Cool. I'll give you guys 2 more minutes to ask any questions. And if you have any or don't have any, let me know. And then I'll wrap it up. Cool. Has anyone here purchased the book by any chance? I know I know we got quite a few sales. I was wondering if anyone in here has managed to actually grab hold of it. I did not. I see. Okay, cool. Well, if that's it, guys, if you have any questions or anything after, you know where I am. You can drop me a message on Discord. And yeah, those of you that are in England, enjoy the sun. And I will speak to you all soon. Have a great weekend. Oh, I see. Okay. See. All right. Nice one, guys. Have a good weekend. Thanks for tuning in.